Hey everyone, welcome back to part 2 of the new update coming on May 23rd. Now we're going to be looking specifically at the new Paragon system. Let's do this. So to kick off, the new Paragon tree will look something like this, and there are going to be 5 Paragon trees instead of the 15. Now the idea is that skills are going to be condensed into these 5 trees instead of being spread across 15 trees, and it should ideally give us more versatility in our builds and playstyle. So let's take a look at what the developers have to say. Alongside the content update that brings Tempest on May 23rd, we are reshaping the way our Paragon system is currently set up. Our goal is to increase versatility and choice while streamlining the system overall to make it easier to combine and collect skills that will suit your various playstyles. After these Paragon changes have taken effect, you'll still have access to the features and content that you currently have in this system. What you gain is far more flexibility to equip and combine different abilities, granting greater build diversity and versatility. I guess we'll have to see what this looks like once it's in game. A lot of people aren't happy about the fact that everything's kind of getting squished down, including Paragon level, which I'll move on to later in the video. But for now, let's continue to look at the Paragon trees. In the new Paragon system, we're combining sections of previous Paragon systems to allow for a much better pool of skills one can use at any time. Currently, Paragon skills are separated into 15 different trees. In the new system, these are going to be combined into 5 different trees, each with a pool of 15 skills to choose from. You can now make the same selection of having 5 active skills, except you'll be able to select any 5 from a pool of 15 skills within a given branch. So basically, we'll still only have 5 active skills when we're using whichever tree we've chosen, but we get to pick and choose which skills we want to use. So you basically drag and click the skills that you want to slot in from what I understand of this new system. Also, from my understanding, the attribute bonuses on the right hand side of the Paragon tree update automatically when you update these skills. So instead of us being able to specifically spend Paragon points on the attributes, it seems to upgrade automatically from the skills when they're upgraded. So I'm not entirely sure how I feel about that, because obviously no one really wants to put points into damage and life. A lot of people prefer to focus on things like armor penetration, potency and resistance, the secondary attributes. But again, we'll just have to see what this looks like when it's in game. So taking a look at how these trees are being condensed, these are the 5 new trees. So we have Vanquisher, Survivor, Gladiator, Brawler and Slinger. So Vanquisher includes Vanquisher, Treasure Hunter and Massacre. Survivor is Survivor, Mastermind, Apothecary. Gladiator is Gladiator, Soldier and Champion. Brawler is Brawler, Warden and Executioner. And Slinger is Duelist, Weaver and Ranger. So I'm someone that generally the trees I use are Weaver, Gladiator and Survivor, and that is pretty much it. Those are literally the only 3 trees that I use, and obviously for this new system they are still in separate areas. So I'd be having to use the Survivor tree, Gladiator tree and the new Slinger tree. I also have these leaked images of the 5 different Paragon trees just to give you an idea of what they look like. So you can see they all have different headings on to what we've been told the Paragon trees are. So I'm not exactly sure how this works, and I'm sorry about the crop on these. This is just literally how I have them. But this gives you just a little bit more of an idea of what the system will look like. And the last thing I'm going to touch on with the new Paragon point system is the persistent attributes. So all of the persistent attributes that gave you benefits in the previous system can now be unlocked and redistributed in the new system. Unlocking a Paragon skill, regardless of whether it's active, will grant you the additive bonuses that persistent attributes once gave. All of the stat benefits that were within persistent attributes will be granted across all new Paragon skills. So these are your secondary attributes that I already touched on. So your armor penetration, potency, resistance, and your primary attributes of damage and life. Now, I'm not too sure how I feel about having to blindly spend Paragon points on skills and hope that it's going to give me the attributes I want. I'm hoping there will be more clarity on this when you actually assign the points in game. As I mentioned, I'd rather have points on my secondary attributes like armor penetration, potency and resistance than be putting stuff into things like damage and life, because the secondary attributes are super strong, especially in PvP. But I guess we'll have to wait and see what that looks like in game. For now, let's move on and see what other changes are coming. If you've logged into game since the scheduled maintenance icon has popped at the top, you will have seen this. So I had to film this on one of my other characters because it didn't pop on my main for some reason. but it has the Paragon system update details. So difficulty and Paragon levels will be adjusted to maintain character attributes. The number of difficulty modes has been reduced from 15 to 4, and the difficulties of Hell 1 to 8 have been adjusted to Hell 1. The difficulties of Inferno 1 to 3 is adjusted to Hell 2, and the difficulties of Inferno 4 to 6 has been adjusted to Hell 3. The maximum Paragon level has been reduced from 1,399 to 299. After adjustment, equipment and demonic items will be adjusted with the same attributes. So this is super interesting to me. So you can see my character here is only Paragon 70. So she is within the Hell 1 Paragon. You will also get bonuses here, it looks. You'll get some legendary crests. So my main character will be the higher Hell level and approximately level 277. There's also the Challenge Rift updates that I mentioned in the previous video. So this information is quite easy to find if you log in, but I don't know if you can get it to come up again. I couldn't find a way of getting this to show up again when I looked in game. Again, I'm not sure how I feel about having grinded 1,331 levels to now be put down to level 270 something. It's just bizarre to me why they've done this, and I think this will be a make or break moment for the game overall. A lot of players seem enraged about this, and I can totally understand why. I mean, I myself have been playing this game for almost 2 years now, and this is a huge change and not really much of a positive other than the new class. I feel like they've kind of tried to make it all about the new class so that we're not so angry about all of these other changes. But there we go. So you can find this information in game. There's also information on the Helicry updates. The bosses are going to be shrunk down to different levels again, which I'll mention or go through in more detail in a second. And there's also the Codex updates, which I mentioned in my previous video, with all the levels once again being changed and hero's journey, etc. also being adapted to this new Paragon system. So let's take a look at the other new things. So taking a look now at the Helicry changes. So to keep these Helicry bosses available at relative levels with our new Paragon changes, we've made some changes to how these are assessed. So Hell 1 allows you to challenge Ophineb, Katarag, Dimdrel, Apophis and Fang. Hell 2 allows you to challenge Strazos, Gebdu, Kulul, Yamnau and Saradan. And Hell 3 allows you to challenge Ifail, Drepsi, Elsali, Ischia and Pestiel. So there's not much change there. The bosses are still available. There's a few that have been removed, like the earlier bosses. But overall, that's not too much change to Helicry. I think many of us don't even remember LaSalle and all of those really old bosses. However, I'm disappointed to not see any mention of future bosses. I know that we're kind of in the end game phase of Diablo Immortal, but without any updates coming to this game, I kind of feel that this is just going to die off completely, which is kind of disappointing. That is just my thoughts and feelings on this game right now as we stand with this update. But let's now take a look at the warband changes. Warband updates. With the changes to Helicry bosses, your current Helicry warband progress will transition to the new Helicry boss progress. Any previously earned rewards cannot be earned again. After the content update on May 23rd, leaderboards will be recalculated based on new Helicry bosses. The last leaderboard list will only last from May 13th to May 23rd, ending before the content update goes live. The deadline for this leaderboard is 2:59 AM local server time on May 22nd, with rewards being sent out on May 23rd. After the update, some Helicry bosses and their warband banner will be unattainable. If you have already earned these banners, they will remain in your inventory. The changes are for the following bosses. So basically the bosses that were no longer listed when I went through Helicry just now, those bosses you basically won't be able to gain anything or even attempt those anymore in the raids whatsoever. They're just disappearing and going completely. So that is pretty much everything from this update, everything from the patch notes. Obviously, there's new events in game and returning events in game that were mentioned in the previous update, and some of those went live this morning. But that is basically it from me today. Unfortunately, I don't feel that positive about any of this update. It feels all quite disappointing to me. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. But for now, that is it. Thank you so much for watching, and as always, have a great day.